She only talks about things that she thinks will benefit her because she's a virtue signaler. Shelby. You know, I always knew that the day would come when I would finally get to expose you for the grifter that you are. I used to think that I would feel joy or even excitement in finally being able to make this video about you. But the truth is, I honestly just feel sad. For a long time, I genuinely wanted to believe that you had changed and that you had become a good person, a complete 180 from who you used to be. But your recent video about me, calling me a performative activist, the irony in that, you literally exposed yourself. You're not here for the animals. You're a fake virtue signaling activist. You're a grifter hoping to capitalize on the few thousand subscribers that I lost for standing up for Charlie Kirk's senseless murder and saying that people who were blatantly encouraging murder were crazy.
Or in Raleigh Link's case, say that people are nuts or crazy for not liking the guy.
Shelby, for Christ's sake, I love how performative you are right here. Never did I ever say that people were crazy for not liking him. It's actually funny that you would say that because it points out how stupid you are when you sit there and ramble behind your camera. What I said was the people who were saying that it was okay for this man to be murdered, they're crazy. They are insane for condoning violence. For those of you who don't know Shelby and I's very long history, Shelby, back in the late 2010s, used to make videos about me nearly every single time I posted a video to the internet. Many of you will actually remember this. When I first started speaking out about equine welfare, Shelby was one of my biggest critics. Anytime I mentioned why I don't ride in bits, Shelby was right there to say that I was an idiot, there was nothing wrong with bits. Anytime I said the horse racing industry is horrific, horrible, thousands of horses die in it a year, we know this, and it's been going on for forever. Shelby Grifter Dennis, who was a racing jockey for a very long time, made so many videos about me defending the racing industry. Shelby loved the racing industry so much that she even said that she would race horses for free.
But as a horse trainer, I do have work all year round riding all sorts of different horses. So right now my paycheck is not from the racing world, and I make enough money as is to not even have to go back to galloping. But I do it because I have a ton of respect for my boss and I love the horses, and it's a good job to have.
Not only that, but every time I would post videos or photos on Instagram, Shelby was right there to leave a nasty comment, to make fun of me, to make fun of my riding.
So I just wanted to give a major shout out to Raleigh for being so passive aggressive in her recent video and giving me something to respond to. You truly make it so easy. So thank you again for the shout out. Next time it would be nice though if you could name me, because if you're gonna blatantly call someone out so obviously to the point where numerous people send me that video and take clips of it so that I don't even have to watch it to give you any ounce of money from watching your monetized video, you might as well just say my name. So for whatever reason, I don't know why you didn't, but thank you for calling me out so much and being obsessed with me as you said I was with you when I made responses to your videos.
I even remember she and her mother joining one of my live streams, trying to get her fans to harass me to debate her because she was so pro horse racing and pro bits, and she didn't see any problem with any of that. I know she's grifted since. Shelby, you relentlessly mocked me. You tore me down on a regular basis. You tried to provoke me so many times, and I always just ignored you. The most hilarious thing about you reacting to my last video was that a large part of why I stood up for the people making fun of this guy's murder is because of all the people like you, who condoned the lady who was stalking and doxing me and harassing me and sharing my address and my phone number on the internet. You, and I remember seeing you in her comments, even though I know you're going to say you never did, I remember seeing your fans sharing her posts, doxing me. And it's so funny that you would make a video trying to virtue signal about how you're some great person. That's pretty hilarious. That's quite rich coming from someone like you. Now, I'm not going to show you guys this entire video because you're so welcome to go watch it. She basically just repeats herself over and over and over. Shelby blatantly takes Charlie Kirk's comments out of context to justify his killing by saying, oh, well, I don't stand for violence, but Charlie Kirk did.
Because people are now using their platforms to advocate for someone who stood for what happened to him. And I'm going to make this clear. I do not condone what happened to Charlie Kirk. I do not condone gun violence. But Charlie Kirk condoned what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year.
You're using and taking his words out of context to justify his killing. And here is a black gay man addressing how you are taking his own words about gun violence out of context.
You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
And this is important because it's a clip that's kind of like a gotcha. Well, Charlie called for this. He asked for this. No, he did not. There's a strong difference between advocating for gun rights because you can protect yourself, but your personal safety, and also from a tyrannical government versus the right for mentally ill people to commit political assassinations. There's a major difference, and obviously there's some context that goes into that. He's not advocating for political assassins to take place. He's not advocating for crazy people to just go out there and be shooting people willy-nilly. No.
The fact that someone like Raleigh Link thinks it's nuts for people to not like Charlie Kirk shows a lack of grasp on reality, or at minimum, a lack of desire to understand why certain people are so offended by the things that he said and why so many of the things that he said are problematic and how they hurt marginalized people.
Shelby, I remember that you bullied me so bad that in 2018, I broke down on YouTube and I cried on camera about I didn't understand why everybody hated me so much for speaking up for horses. I know you remember that. Yeah, I bet you were probably sitting there smiling and laughing. And you never apologized. Not once. Not once did you ever apologize to me for how poorly you treated me. Not once. But yet, you're on the internet talking about how you're the true activist, how you're the person who really cares about others. Yeah. Shelby's literally sitting here defending people who are celebrating a man's murder. So if this doesn't tell you the type of virtue signaling grifter that Shelby is, I don't know what does. But you know what, Shelby? At a certain point, it became unpopular for you to speak out against me. Your videos started getting more and more dislikes and criticisms on them because slowly over time, I was proven right for the things that I was saying about the horse industry being terrible, about the racing industry being terrible. And so you know what you did? You rebranded. You deleted every single video that you made about me on your page and on your Instagram. And then just a few weeks later, now you're an equine activist. Now you're speaking out about horse welfare. Give me a break. I knew you were always jealous of me for having a larger following, and you just wanted to tear me down at any chance you could get. And when you saw that that wasn't working for you, then that's when you changed. You grifted. Now you became an equine activist. Now you're speaking out for horse welfare. And again, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I said, you know what? I believe that people can change. I believe that people can change their opinions, that they can be better. You pivoted to become part of the very movement that you mocked me relentlessly for years. And your mother. Don't ever forget that. I will always remember you. I always knew deep down that you were full of it, but the reason I never called you out until now is because I knew that for the greater good of horses, it benefited all of the suffering animals out there to have more people speaking out about it, even if they didn't mean it. All activism speaking out and raising awareness meant something to me. So I was willing to look past everything that you did to me and didn't apologize for until now. Over the years of your grifting, I've seen so many red flags that I never spoke about for the greater good of equine welfare. And then the endless GoFundMes, dude. I can't even remember how many times you've asked for money from people on the internet because you have more animals than what you can responsibly afford and care for. Yet you want to talk about equine welfare and responsible horse ownership. You can't even afford your horse's basic medical bills, Shelby. You use your platform to constantly beg your followers to bankroll your lifestyle. And the irony of all of this is one of the things that you accuse me of, Shelby, is only posting videos about things that I want to make money on.
Raleigh's most viewed videos, meaning the ones she would make the most money from AdSense off of, are the controversial ones about horse racing and other topics. So it is in her interest to be extremely inflammatory and basically just make a scene so that more people watch it and she gets more money in her pocket.
Pretty rich. Because never once have I ever begged any of my followers for money.
Mom, can you give me some money, please? Mom, can you give me some money, please? Stop fucking around! I can't. Mom, give me some fucking money, please! What are you doing? I'm your son! I don't have any.
Never once have I begged my followers to pay for my horse's medical bills. I didn't even do that when I was a broke, nearly homeless 16-year-old kid. Now, I moved to Washington State in 2022, just a few hours away from her. And at this time, Shelby was claiming to be an equine activist. But never once in the years that I lived in Washington State did you ever reach out to me, did you ever want to collaborate. But for those of you who remember, at the end of 2023, I was planning on quitting YouTube. As you know, events transpired and I decided to stay. Just 8 days into the new year of 2024, when Shelby had thought that I had officially quit YouTube and wasn't coming back, she emailed me wanting to collaborate. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why you want to collaborate, Shelby. Oh, I've been meaning to reach out to you, girl. I've been meaning to. Yeah, but you never did, Shelby. In the year that I lived there, you never did. You waited until you thought that I left so you could grift. You know how I read this email? Raleigh, I never liked you, and I bullied you relentlessly. But please, now that you've left YouTube, please, let's hang out so I can take your followers.
Money, please.
The reason I'm saying this is because it once again proves that Shelby is the person who is the performative activist. She's the grifter. She's the virtue signaler. She's not doing this because she cares about it. She's not doing this because she cares about horses. She rambles and rants and rambles and rants because she wants people to think that she's a good person. Because she's not. This is what bad people do. If you have to try to tell people how good of a person you are, you're not a good person. And furthermore, she talks about how I have a lack of grasp on reality. Imagine telling somebody who made a video saying murder is wrong that they have a lack of grasp on reality. Wow. And finally, one of the only other points that she makes about me in her video, calling me a performative activist, is in saying how I only spoke out about this one thing. Classic whataboutism that I went over in my last video. Isn't this you? She only talks about things that she thinks will benefit her because she's a virtue signaler. Shelby wants to claim that I am a dishonest person. I've never changed who I am. I've never grifted. I've never changed my stance on equine welfare. I've never lied to you guys about my accomplishments, about struggling with my weight, about my dad being in and out of prison and being severely abusive my whole childhood. I've never lied to you guys about how I stopped my schooling because I had my beautiful baby girl and wanted to prioritize raising her and my family. And for that, I have to say that honesty always prevails. And I always knew who Shelby really was as a person. And the only reason I'm making this video about her is because you never forget your bullies.